Hey, what's going on, Taka Fam? Alright, so here's another branded list. This time it's going to be slightly different, but it's going to be not too much different from what I've been playing. But this is what I played on Sneak Peek Weekend, and this is also what I used to win locals yesterday. So I split in the finals, so that was pretty good. We can pretty much talk about siding patterns and some of the stuff that I sided. That's why I also pulled out my side deck. So we can kind of go ahead and go over that too. So I'm gonna make this nice and simple. Aluber and Albaz. As y'all know, I don't ever change this. I feel like you just play 3, period. Because this card's not bad drawing, go second too. It's just the problem of drawing too many monsters sometimes, and I've been trying to find ways to keep my monster count a little bit lower. So I try not to go over like 15, and that's pretty much where I'm at currently. And then my 2 spellcasters. So the 2 Quinn, 2 Cartesia. I don't think that's going to change for me personally. Yes, I know there's arguments for one of these, but I actually like 2. Because a lot of people realize and focus on like trying to get rid of this. And we don't have expulsion anymore, so there's no reliable ways to like get it back. Like we can go out of our way to get it back if we shuffle it back in with Lubellion, but I don't think that's very necessary unless you just have to. And the thing that I did that was a little bit different, I've been testing out 2 Shrouded, and I actually like this a lot. So hear me out. Obviously, you get the draw every turn, but he also counts as Albaz in the grave, so having another name does matter. And I kind of wanted another name that was more useful. Because Ashen's not bad, but drawing Ashen doesn't necessarily do anything. But if I draw this, this serves as Albaz, and it gives me a draw. And worst case, if I need a bigger body on the board, and I draw too many branded spells or traps, he can get them out of my hand. So it actually comes up a lot, and there's a lot of places you can do with this card in general, just being Albaz. And obviously Cash is still here, so sometimes it gets hit. My luck, I usually get this banished all the time off Rise Heart for some random reason, but it is what it is. And the last little Albaz monster playing Tweety Bird, I typically don't want to change that. Like there's times I want to play 2, but I just feel like I just always want to be able to play, so I just don't. And then still on the 2 Bestials, finally, you know, my Saronir's dark skin, like the Lubellion. If you know, you know. Alright, then for the spells. The new beauty. This is baby right here, you know, little mama right here. But 3 fusion. As long as we have 3, we're gonna play 3. And the ultis look amazing, so I like those a lot. Then 3 opening. Like I said, this doesn't really change. Along with, for me, 3 servants don't change either. I actually like 3. And as y'all saw from my monsters, I cut max. I feel like I don't really need max all that much. And because I'm playing Super Poly in my version, I just felt like I didn't need to like have too many bad cards in my hand. And making the decision to where, do I want to banish the monster I send off servant just for the max, you know? And 3 deployment. This is really good. There's that new card, the Fusion Armament. I feel like that card could be like okay, but I don't feel like it's necessarily needed. But there is room to test. And then the last 2 like branded spells that I play. Obviously the Lost and the Red. I actually really consider a second one. I know that I say that a lot. I'm actually thinking about finding a way to put a second one in my main deck, because that's another application for the second Albion that I play, because he counts as Albaz. So you can, if you draw too many like monsters and you send them to the grave, you can add back Albion with this, then fuse with other monsters that are in your hand, and then use Albion so you can get a draw. That's another reason why I like it too. And then Retribution. This card lives in my hand for some reason, always, and I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all feel me on that. That card stays in my hand. And then for like my non-engine cards, I decided to go with 10 like normal. So 3 Super Poly. This card's actually really good. There were some matchups where it just felt like it was kind of like mid, which kind of makes me not want to play it. But at the same time, it was too good for me to cut at the moment because, you know, it's a broken card. You can't respond. And like I said before, it helps you against the Vanadium matchup. Just having a card that they can't respond to so that you don't get your turn skipped, which for those who didn't know, hint, hint, this deck is one of the only decks that I know of that can play certain cards in the deck and have certain cards in the deck that actually don't just straight up lose to the lock. And I guess I'll talk about that after. 3 book. This card's still crazy. Like, even though it's a neg 1, this card is just dumb. It actually helps you in a lot of matchups. And the only matchup it's not really good against is our deck. The only time it's like even decent against us is like going second. If they know we have Mercurier and they book our only Albaz fusion, then that's the only time it really like does anything because it turns out 2 interruptions. So that's another reason why I like it too. It's good against Cash and Pearly too. And then I'm still on the Thrust and the Duplication. I feel like these cards still need it. Like beforehand, this card used to suck and Branded before this card came out. But ever since this card came out, it kind of, to me, felt like it's a staple in this deck. 40 cards as always. And for the extra 2 boss monsters, I actually summon these a lot. So this is one of the things I was talking about with the Vanadium. So you have like 2 ways in your deck to where you just don't auto lose to the lock. Because they end on a bunch of dragons. That's why we still play this too. Because if you open Albaz or if you open Super Poly just says you don't lose to the lock, period. At least with Albaz, they lock you, but then you suck up all their dragons. And if they end on Appaloosa, you just at least attack the Appaloosa and then just leave them on Baron and a counter trap. And then you're at least able to set some of your cards. And thankfully, a lot of our cards are quick play, so we could still interact on their turn. So we're not like completely dead, you know. And their follow-up's not the greatest. So at least if you put them on little to nothing, it's pretty good. 2 Jade, nothing changes. This card is the best card in our deck. Albion. Don't feel like I need 3 of this card, but yeah, you know, 3 could be cool just to have 3, but I don't think it's necessary. And then Lubellion. I feel like Cash is not really looking at my extra deck that much, so I'm just not going to play 2. I don't feel like there's a reason to. Then for the last 2, this card is really good. This card still does a lot of work. I do summon it from time to time. This, I don't even summon it anymore. Because I just feel like I just send it to the graveyard. The graveyard is Rimbrum's home. But you can't cut him for that reason, you know. He's still really good and you need him. And then 2 Grand Guignol. I feel like you still got to play 2. You play X amount of Grand Guignol that you do Cartesia. Since I play 2, I suggest playing 2. If I play 1, I probably still play 2, even though that kind of contradicts with the last one, but it could just come up for the follow-up. But if you're playing 1, you don't necessarily need to. Quertus, still play it because of Grand Guignol. And sometimes I hard make this too. And because I'm playing Super Poly now, it makes it a little bit easier. And then for the generic-ish fusions, we got Chimera, Reliever. This card is really good. Like I said in the last video, this card in testing and even in actual like tournaments has been really amazing for me. The fact that every turn you get a draw and that you just get a quick effect pop and your opponent doesn't want to trigger this. If they don't want to, you can do it yourself because it doesn't matter. As long as another card is activated or even effect of another card is activated, you just banish a poly, pop. And the fusion cards that we play in the deck, just so y'all know, you can use that as one of the targets. That's a target. And Brain Infusion's a target. So, yeah. Just so y'all know for the future. And post side, depending on what you play, it could matter too. And the fact that it's a Fiend kind of matters, depending on what you want to make. But yeah, that's pretty good for that. And the last card, I still play the Cursed Dragon. Obviously, this is my super probably target for Vanadium. Like I said, the reason why I don't play Atleast, because I don't feel like I need it. Because Atleast, yeah, it's cool, because it takes a warrior synchro, but this just takes a warrior. Meaning I could just not even giving them a chance to lock me, because I could just take their Vistas and get it out of the way. So most times you can still wait, but if you go first and they going into your board playing, you could just take away their Vistas in the middle of their combo. Or if you want to be patient, you could take the Baron, but I feel like doing that could probably mess you up. And then tokens. All the tokens. Cool. Alright, so my side deck changed slightly, but this is kind of like for what I use for like floodgates and like back row and like annoying monsters and stuff. And side note, this is really good at Unchained too, by the way, because it pops your Unchained monsters and their cards, and then it floats, allows your Unchained to float. But outside of that, this hits floodgates, and this is why I just really like playing this card, because a lot of people don't really play around this one, and it helps you beat anti-spell, so that's kind of all that matters. These 3 beat anti-spell. If I really had room in my side deck, I would probably play 3 of these in this. That's like 4 ways to like just stop it. That's a monster. Okay, then 3 Drolls. So this is like the only hand trap we just play, period. The reason why I say Kashtira don't really look at my extra deck, because I just don't interrupt them. You do whatever you want. I'm just going to focus on trying to break your board and kill you next turn. And with Reliever, you at least could have a chance to like pretty much just break their complete board. So now you don't have to just worry about, oh, their Birth is still alive, I'm going to lose. At least the Reliever kind of deals with that. So even if you like clear the whole board, and then if you can't do it during the main phase or whatever, or battle phase, then you can focus on doing it during the end phase to pop it before they can play. And this just skips everybody's turn for the most part. Back row removal, cosmetic. Not much to say about that. Another card that you need for anti-spell. Call by. I put this in when I'm going first. I'm too like picky with some of the stuff that I want to play, so it's not in the main deck anymore currently, but that's just personal choice. I don't really care if you ash me too much, unless I just open a hand just full of monsters and they're like not really good. As you saw the monsters that we play, if you draw too many of them, they all kind of are normal summon, so those are the only games that the ash really hurts you, to be honest. Dark Hole, Ibly, and I play Thrust. So, and yes, I know I could just play 1 or 3, but for space, I'm playing 2, and this still gives me a decent chance to like draw it or get to it. Duster, because back row decks and just back row cards in general. Herald of the Abyss, I'm thinking about maining this too. Like I said, I got a couple of decisions to make, but this just for purely. Yes, we have other like purely outs and stuff like that, but like some of them are like really weird, because if they know that you don't really have like a out to the Noir, they probably just won't ever use the effect if they have Delicious under it. If they don't have Delicious, it don't really matter. That's the only reason why this is not in the main deck, but I feel like I want to put this in the main just in case, just so I don't get that unlucky with it. And this doesn't allow the My Friend and stuff to proc, so it's pretty cool. And the Ruma Cannon, also for purely, and cash. I even keep this in even if I'm going second too, because they're going to be interacting with me and having a bunch of interactions, and then we're going to do all of that, and then I'm just going to set this if I have it, or thrust into this if I need to, just so it says, okay, I live, you know. But there's a couple things that I want to talk about. So there's the Chimera cards, which a lot of people ask me about. And I have a build for Chimera that I've been working on. So if this video gets to 100 likes, I'll definitely be posting that. If not, well, I'll just, you know, keep the goo hidden. But it's actually really good. I've been working on it on the low. And there's a lot of cool stuff that you can do with Chimera. And I kind of wanted to play one of the Phantom Beasts in this deck, but I really don't want to like play like Patchwork and stuff in my deck and going over 40, because to me that I don't think that makes any sense. I feel like this deck already struggles consistency wise sometimes, so I'm just not gonna make it even harder. But yeah, if you guys enjoy this video, leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what y'all think. All right, peace.